Over the years, Cambodia has become one of the world's capitals of sex tourism. Its cheap and available prostitutes attracting men from around the world.
The sex industry has different rungs to it. There's the streetwalkers that do the $5 blowjob. There are brothels, there's massage parlors, and then there are the bars where you go in, you get served drinks, and the girls will go home with you. There are tens of thousands of women who are doing that here in Cambodia.
The U.S. government has long worried that many of these women were victims of human trafficking and put pressure on Cambodia to crack down. And since Washington provides some $600 million a year in development aid, the Cambodian government finally listened. In 2008, it launched an aggressive new anti-trafficking and prostitution campaign. But there have been reports that it was doing more harm than good, so we went to see for ourselves. So we're out on patrol with the anti-trafficking unit from the Ministry of the Interior. We're going on a raid to get some women who have been illegally trafficked. That's all we know right now. They're taking their phones right now, so the girls won't call ahead to other operations, to other brothels. It's a very heavy scene right now. Oh my God, this is about as dark as it gets right here. Ugh. Where do they go now? What do you do with the girls? And this is the crux of Cambodia's anti-trafficking program. Sex workers brought into police custody are given a simple choice: accept training for a new career or remain in custody indefinitely, vulnerable to abuse and shakedowns by corrupt police. With these options, most women choose retraining, almost always for work in Cambodia's booming garment industry. Since the Cambodian government started its crackdown in 2008, authorities claim to have rescued and retrained thousands of women from the sex industry for what at first glance seemed like better jobs. But we soon learned that many of these women didn't want to be rescued at all. At the end of this long, abandoned train track is a makeshift squatter camp. It's the home to one of the rescued sex workers, a mother named Polly. After Polly's arrest, police released her into the custody of a local NGO that would prepare her for her new career. The NGO would train her for work in the garment industry, which employs 500,000 Cambodians and makes up 80% of the country's exports. At first, it sounded like an opportunity for a fresh start in Cambodia's biggest industry. The reality was very different. So were you making any money while you were in the training? We spoke to several women with similar stories, and they told us that life didn't get much better after they finally entered the workplace. Garment workers here get a base salary of $80 a month, the minimum wage. That's barely enough to feed a family a diet of rice alone and pay rent in a shack in Phnom Penh or live in factory barracks like these. Seks Raymond tries to support her family working long hours in a garment factory, but it's still not enough to get by.
How much is your rent for your house?
Chua teh keឥឡូវមួយខែផ្ទះមួយខែសិត100000បងថ្ងៃណារហូតទៅលុយទិញបាយកូនហូបមិនបានដែរហ្នឹងហើយជួនកាលក្នុងមួយខែជួនកាលកូនឈឺអញ្ចឹងដេកពេទ្យ3 4ថ្ងៃអញ្ចឹងប្រាក់ខែ80គឺកាត់ថ្ងៃ10រៀលជាងអស់ហើយខាងងារខ្ញុំចាក់ពិបាកណាស់ពូខ្ញុំឈរហើមជើងអស់ហើយមួយថ្ងៃវងងាកអញ្ចឹងសម្រាប់ពេលហូបបាយតែមួយផ្លែតហូបបាយហើយនឹងដល់ម៉ោងទៀតហើយ
To make ends meet, she now moonlights as a prostitute every night, earning just $8 per customer.
If you look around the world where the garment industry is flourishing, what attracts the garment industry, it tends to be where the rule of law is weakest and where people are so desperately poor that en masse they're almost willing to work under any conditions.
David Welsh is an organizer at the Solidarity Center, a labor rights group out of the United States that's affiliated with the AFL-CIO.
It's not indentured slavery or servitude, but in a way it is. Throughout the supply chain, an incredible amount of money is being made by these brands. A significant amount of money is being made by the factories. The workers are nowhere near a living wage, and that's where the margins are.
Desperate for jobs and fearful of crackdowns by the authoritarian Cambodian government, garment workers have for years stayed quiet. But conditions have gotten so bad that they are now starting to push back. We're just outside the capital, where dozens of clothing manufacturers for Western brands sprawl out for miles. Hundreds of garment workers were picketing for a second day, and things were tense.
So these women are protesting and striking. The basic gist is they want to be paid more.
Just that morning, thugs had come and beaten some of the strikers with clubs, and that pushed the women to their boiling point.
So what? So what? So what? What do it here?
We wanted to see the factory conditions that led these women to strike, but these factories are notoriously difficult to get into, especially with cameras.
Can you take me inside? Solidarity. We are not allowed in this factory, but if the workers all protect us, then we can go in. So they're taking us in, stirring up the pot a little bit. Security guys making calls right now.
Before long, someone from management showed up to greet us.
You represent of them, then follow me to see what the trade is done.
We'd love to see it inside the factory. Normally, it is 3,000 women, nose to the grindstone, sitting here all day, every day, 6 days a week for maybe $80 a month, and they're supposed to feed their families with that.
By all definitions, Cambodia's garment factories are sweatshops, literally. In some factories, there have been mass faintings, and women have been hospitalized by the hundreds. On the floor at Barrie, we saw labels for H&M, Old Navy, Benetton, and Russell Athletics. Over several weeks, we reached out to all of these brands, but no one wanted to talk to us on camera. The management of the Barrie factory told us that none of this was a problem at their shop, that they treated their workers well, and even paid them more than the minimum wage. And then, for some reason, they wanted me to be the one to convince their workers of all that.
So I think I hope you can explain to the worker that.
Yeah, it's not appropriate for me to get involved in these contract negotiations.
I know.
I had no intention of being a mouthpiece of the factory management, so I took this opportunity to ask the workers directly what they are actually paid.
Your bosses here are saying that the minimum wage in this country is about $80, and that you are actually getting paid $175 to $200. Is that correct?
This entire dispute, which led to the walkout and strike, was all over what amounted to a $4 per month raise. And the very fact that Barry's management actually invited us to see their factory strongly suggests that the conditions there are far above average. Many others in Cambodia and throughout Asia are far worse, like a factory making sneakers for Asics, where a roof collapsed in 2013 and killed 2 workers and injured 7 others. The working conditions in the garment industry have gotten so bad that strikes by workers and clashes with the authorities are now almost routine. The government is starting to get worried that all this unrest will hurt business. In January 2014, police opened fire on demonstrating garment workers, killing at least 4. These riots threaten to destabilize Cambodia. In all this, so we can spend a few dollars less on our t-shirts.
It's crazy when you go into a big retailer in America and you can find a hoodie for like $10. Like if you think about it, how could it be that cheap? The only way is that the people who are making the product are getting paid peanuts. And that's what's going on here.
Many of the sex workers pushed into garment jobs told us they didn't want to be rescued at all. The women we spoke to said the pay and conditions are actually better on the streets.
If you quit being a sex worker, would you go back to the garment industry?
And here's a sad bit of irony about Cambodia's rescue program. A number of studies have found that most of Cambodia's sex workers weren't victims of trafficking after all. For now, women are choosing prostitution over garment work. And that, more than anything, paints a very stark picture of what the reality is for Cambodia's girls and women.